Good morning, everyone. Welcome to XR Talk Show. Today is July 9th, 2019, 4 o'clock p.m. California time. Today we're gonna talk about two things. Okay, so the first thing is the first thing is about Unicode. There is this problem of Unicode, so we're gonna talk about that. Then the other thing is we are going to do a live coding of Golang. We are in plus tutorial. So while I'm coding it, I'm gonna explain how to do it, so you can learn. It's good for Golang beginners. So if you have never learned Golang, I recommend it. You can learn. You can. I hope it inspires you, and also as a beginning course on uh, Golang. Golang is the most popular, one of the most popular industrial language. It's fantastic. It's my favorite industrial language. So we have one guy watching. Say hi, and we're gonna begin talking about today's topic. Let's begin. Begin at the beginning. Let's begin talking about it. So let's get the window up here. So so there is this problem with Unicode. So in your writings, you write, um, in mathematics. Suppose you write, let's say, let's see this. Okay. Uh, Oops. Let's say. Okay. So what's going on? What? Oh, okay. It's a log. Okay. So you write A, change to B. Oh, okay. So A, let's say not A B, but let's say you say that. Okay. So you write that, and you write that in your, let's say, PhD thesis, or some online publication in your blog, or something somewhere important. You want the words mathematicians to read it. A proof of something, some theory. Then in Unicode, after a few years, it becomes this. So you see, your double-headed arrow, usually, it becomes this emoji. It's pretty fucked up, okay? And so that is the problem with Unicode. And this symbol, by the way, this symbol usually means usually means if and only if, or it can means uh, implication, necessary and um, how they say it, necessary and sufficient and necessary condition. But anyway, it usually just means if and only if. The easiest way to remember such a property is that when you have something if and only if, that means A implies B, B implies A, or in other words, A and B are kind of almost like the same thing. Okay, when you have condition A, it's the same as B. Well, I mean, not the same, but it implies in both ways. Uh, so in other words, when you have this in math, that means the A and B are of the same condition, not the same condition, but the same kind of requirement, like some sort of requirement structure. Anyway, that's math. So that the problem here is emoji. The emoji, the damnation of the emoji, and this happened with Unicode. It's so let me give you another example. Then we're gonna explain what's really going on. So in my articles, I have describing keywords. I wrote this. Okay. So this particular keyboard, you have multimedia keys. This is this. Those multimedia keys like stop, play, pause, fast forward, fast backward, and mute. And you also have sound control keys. You can increase the sound or lower the sound. So those are typical multimedia keys on a keyboard, computer keyboard. And also you have typically represented by these symbols. So you wrote this, but a few years later, they become these. They become these these like inconsistent crap. Part of it is in this character, for example, the stop sign, a square, a black square, is not emoji, but then the forward, fast backward, and play button become emoji, and also the sound, you know, mute symbol, they all become emoji. But so it becomes this. This is a problem. This is a problem due to what's called, I think it's something called emoji and symbol merge, something like that. But basically, the history of it is that, around 2007 also, that Unicode invented emoji, which are, emoji, which are these characters, emoji. You have all sort of emojis. Unicode didn't invent it. It was kind of invented in Japan. It came from emoticon. But anyway, so around 2007 also, Unicode introduced emoji to their characters, so that it's a good thing, because the idea is that so we can unify. I mean, all the emoji, these smiley characters, you have a code point. You have a code to represent it, so it's kind of like standardized. So everyone will have these kind of uh, emoticons, facial expressions characters. So Japanese, began to use it around year 2000. Okay, uh, then Unicode in around 2007 also, they introduced emoji. From they take it from Japan. Based on the Japanese emoticon. Emoji. So Unicode introduced emoji around 2007. But then what happens is that then some of the characters are not emoji. For example, these stars. You have a bunch of stars in Unicode, or you have, for example, let's say uh, cross. Different crosses. Uh, or these sort of dingbats, game characters, chess characters, playing cards characters. So these exist, many of these exist in Unicode, such as the star signs, the stars. Okay, so these already exist in Unicode. Then Unicode introduced emoji, which are these smiley symbols. Then apparently, some companies, it becomes some companies, when they see a star sign, for example, they try to render it like that, like a emoji. They try to replace it with into a colored, pretty picture. Why do company do that? Of course, they so that they think their product will be better. So anyway, so some characters, even though they are not emoji, but there's a there's a situation where people render them as emoji, like a pretty picture. Anyway, so 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 Unicode began to kind of standardize these as well. Unicode started to say, okay, which characters should be uh, emoji, which character should remain a symbol, not becoming a colored, pretty pictures. So they started to say that, and that is over here. It's they started to specify on that, but what happened is that they just fucked up. They they just totally fucked up. So So let me explain what is the current situation. The technical, spec regarding when is a character is a emoji, when is it text. So basically, Unicode specification says there are some characters can be rendered as text, and some characters can also be rendered as emoji. Okay, so a character can be rendered as text or emoji, but Unicode specifies that certain characters can only be text, can only be rendered as text. For example, English alphabet, letters A B C D. Those are just text. You can, it is incorrect to render them into emoji. Well, you can do that, but that's just technically incorrect. So some text can only be text according to Unicode spec. Okay. Now some other characters are always emoji. They can never be rendered in a textual, symbol fashion. So what are those? Those are, for example, it is emoji. Some of them. I'll explain. Okay, but anyway, let's check out food. Okay, so all these characters, I think all of them, by according to Unicode, they must always be rendered as emoji. I mean, they are classified as emoji. On the other hand, there's a third category. Some text have both emoji and textual representation. So this is what Unicode consortium, the standard says. So some characters can only be text. Some characters can be rendered as emoji. I mean, can only be rendered as emoji, and while another set of characters can be either way. And they also introduced, let me show you, they also introduced a variation character. Now, a variation character is basically an invisible character. For example, like the tab key, the tab character, or the return new line, characters. Those are invisible. Also, the space characters is an example of invisible character. So Unicode created two they created a bunch, but some of they created these invisible characters. They are called variation selector. So there are 16 of them. So the purpose of them is that when you have this character, this variation selector after another character, it tells whatever the application to render the previous character in a particular way. So, for example, the soccer ball. Let's look at this soccer ball. Okay, so this soccer ball is a Unicode, character, like every other character in Unicode. So, according to Unicode spec, this soccer ball has both emoji representation and also a textual representation. So this soccer ball character can be, represented in either way. Now, if you want it to be textual, you can add a variation selector 15 after the character. That should tell the application to render the soccer ball like this here, as a text, that as a symbol, not colorful, pretty picture. But if you want the soccer ball to be rendered as a emoji, a pretty picture, then you can use the variation selector. Then it should be rendered that like a pretty picture. So in summary, Unicode spec, they say this is the way to go. So some characters are always text only. Some are always emoji, while others can be text or emoji. And also, Unicode created these variation selectors, invisible characters, that allows you to kind of specify how a character is represented on on your application. So this is what Unicode spec did, but it turns out it's crap. It's very bad. Okay, so you see, it turns out these characters, this set of characters, you can see all of them here. There are not many, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 times like 20, 10, like 200 of them. They can both be rendered as emoji or text. Okay. Oh, and there's another concept of default. Like if you do not use any variation selector, then what should be the default rendering? Should it be text or emoji? So anyway, Unicode says these characters can be both, and they should default to emoji. And Unicode says these characters must be wait, hold on a second. Okay, so then these characters can also be both, but however they must default to text. Okay, then Unicode says the following characters, there are hundreds of them, these must always be emoji. Okay, yeah, so this so that's what Unicode says. But it's very confusing. It's a very bad spec. Because first of all, in practice, few applications actually follow Unicode. For example, in this box, these characters, they can be both text or emoji, but by default they must be shown as emoji. But as you can see here, all these here, they are not shown as emoji. You see at the bottom, these two lines. And I did not use any of the variation selector. So technically, they should be rendered as emoji. So in Firefox, you can see apparently it's incorrect. It's incorrect, almost everywhere because nobody actually follow this standard, and nobody actually follow this standard because the standard is really bad. Okay, so here is in Brave browser, which is Chrome, using the Chrome engine. You can see, okay, still many of them are not rendered as a text. I mean, not as emoji. They should be rendered as emoji. So anyway, back to Firefox, and on this box can be emoji or text, and default to text. You see, so all these are wrong. All these, Firefox is just incorrect. Now let's see Chrome. You know, same on Chrome. Just all incorrect because nobody actually follow this standard. Uh, so why is that? I mean, what's going on? So if you actually look at these characters, you see Unicode says you look at the Unicode spec. Which character must be default to emoji, which must be text. They doesn't make sense at all. Some of the characters, let me show you these multimedia symbols. Mute. These symbols, the mute symbol, the increased volume symbol, the decreased volume symbol. Over here, they are rendered as text. Over here, they are rendered as emoji. Now, according to Unicode, this mute symbol and this increased volume and decreased volume symbol, this sound level symbols, according to Unicode, they must be always rendered as emoji. Let me show you where. You can see here, you see this speaker with 3 sound waves, speaker with 1 sound wave, and a speaker with cancellation stroke. You see these 3 characters, they are in this group of characters. We scroll to the top and let's see. So you see they are in this section, which are they must be always shown as emoji only. So that this is what Unicode spec says. But that doesn't make sense because these mute symbols, they are very typical, on keyboard. Everyone sees it every day. But now you are saying Unicode is saying that they must be rendered as emoji. That's stupid. And also, if you look at the emoji, who where does this do you ever see an emoji symbol showing this like this? It's almost like doesn't exist. But Unicode says these characters are always emoji. It's like completely idiotic. Okay, so that's the situation with this Unicode emoji and text situation. Okay, that concludes that topic. Let's see how many people are watching. Two people are watching. Say something here. Say hi. So the next topic, I'm thinking I'm going to code Golang. So are you guys here? Anyone here want to do Golang? Because I'm planning to start a live coding of Golang plus tutorial. So just type what you think. Type it. So anyway, so okay, so you guys are not responding, but so let me see. Let's see what we gonna do. Problems of declarative animation. Okay, so I think I'm going to code Golang then. Okay, so let's do code Golang. So Golang. So what am I going to do with Golang? Let me show you. So let's go to xarli.info. Okay, and it's just xarli. xarli.info. This is my website, and you go all the way to the bottom. You can see a sitemap. Let's see if you can see that actually. Okay, so let me move the window left. So there is the sitemap. Click on that, and you have a list of basically all the articles on this particular website. So I have like let's see, 3,648 articles. Let's go to the top. Now you can randomize the order they are shown. So you can randomize and see. Yeah. Okay, so when you click on that, it just go to that page. It opens a new tab on this page. Closure metadata. Okay, work in progress. Okay, let's open some of the some of the pages. Let's just open them. So so this page is called sitemap. The word sitemap used to be popular around 1900s and 2000s, early 2000s. When you have a website, typically they have a site map. Basically tells you, okay, of all the things on the website. Like kind of give you a overview, kind of like table of contents, for all the articles on the website, so you can easily find the information you need. But today you don't have sitemap anymore. I think it's because they are gradually replaced by search. Yeah, Google search. Like few people uh, like you don't see sitemap anymore. But also it used to be like on each website, usually you have a search button that lets you search, the stuff on the website, on that particular website. But even that kind of disappeared. I don't think I see them much anymore. So today it's all replaced by, Google. People just use Google search or Bing search or other, search engines to find info. They don't even use a search button on the website. So anyway, I have this sitemap, and let's see some of the links. So here is one of my Unicode page. Let's see. The page is stuck for a while. Okay, so this is Devanagari language. Okay, close it. So here's another article. This is an essay about ESR wrote How to Not Engage Me. Now, if you don't know, ESR is the famous guy, Eric S. Raymond. He's known for, he's one of the leader, the original kind of co-founder of the open source organization, the open source movement in 1997. Okay, around 1997. It's a offshoot of Richard Stallman's Free Software Foundation. So in the beginning, you have Free Software Foundation, which is copyright, copyleft, or GNU project. It's so GNU project is the project to create a operating system, a kind of freedom-oriented operating system, and that's called GNU project. And the GNU project is created by Richard Stallman, and the organization he created is called Free Software Foundation. So GNU is a project of the Free Software Foundation. They are the creator of the GPL license, GNU, GPL license. So anyway, so Richard Stallman began that around 1980. Was it 80, 84 or 87, something like that. Then it became popular because of Linux in 1990s. Then the open source movement began around 1997 or 1996 or something. Uh, One of the major force is the ESR guy, Eric S. Raymond. He is known for having written the art of Unix. I think he has written several books. The art of Unix, which is crap. Okay, and he's proponent of Unix philosophy, which is a code. It's a total empty content other than code things. And he is also known for Cathedral, Bazaar, and Cathedral. And he's also the maintainer of the jargon file, or also known as Hacker's Dictionary. He's not the original creator or editor. He's the maintainer, and he changed much of it to suit his Unix preferences and his Unix philosophy code. So anyway, he's well known. So he one day he blogged about how to not engage me. Okay, this article is funny. So this is 2012. Okay, he wrote a blog about how to not engage me. Basically, someone sent him an email. Okay, someone sent him an email. I forgot what's the content, but basically flame him or something. So he blogged about it, with full part of the email content, and he basically ridiculous it. Basically he gave his reasons or whatever. But let's see. Yeah. So I found this article because someone mentioned me, in his comment. He says, someone mentioned uh, Xali, the writer was maybe Xali. Someone mentioned Jack Bowles said that, and ESR says probably not. The name given was Greek, not Chinese, and a Google search indicated that it corresponds to a real person. Okay, so yeah, so someone sent him an email, a flame mail or something, and he disagreed, and he opened it up, to ridicule it, and then someone mentioned me. That's how I found it. So I went and read his blog. I read his blog, and so it turns out, to me, that the guy who wrote the email actually made sense, but he doesn't make sense. Okay, this is why I have problem with all these so-called hackers. Okay, this hacker culture, I find them idiotic. Okay, well, I didn't plan to talk about this subject, but since we are on it, let's talk about it. And I don't know, we're gonna do the Golang coding. Maybe we can do that tomorrow. So let's talk about this ESR article. How not to engage me. So let's see. Magnify. So he says, considering the extent to which I am still a public figure, it is perhaps surprising how seldom I get email that deserves a thorough up one side and down the other flaming. I got one today, which I shall reproduce here as a perfect example of how not to engage me. Okay, so this guy is pompous. The word is pompous. Eric S. Raymond. He's a fucking pompous guy. Consider the extent to which I'm still a public figure. It's perhaps surprising how seldom I get email that deserves a thorough one up one side and down the other flaming. What the fuck? Anyway, so he's gonna say he's gonna showcase the email he received. Okay, the email reads, I just finished skimming through your guide, How to Ask Questions the Smart Way. that that is a very popular, or used to be very popular, uh, article on the web. He wrote it. The ESR wrote it, and that article, the content, it's kind of idiotic. Okay, I'll explain. Okay, it's a good article, but it's just like everything nerd do, idiotic, like impractical and ineffectual. This hacker, Unix philosophy hacker types, that's what they are typically. Very accurate, very precise, very what they say seems to be true. But however, their total end effect of what they are doing, tends to be nothing, like ineffectual, in fact harmful to themselves. Like, look at today's, like they used to fight spam. They used to fight spam by, by by plonking, by what's that called? There's a word. Oh God, it's been so long. Uh, by blacklist, by, it's the slang is plonking by, well, basically it's a filter in news groups. Anyway, let's continue to read this. Okay, so so the email, the guy who emailed him says, I just finished skimming through your article, How to Ask Questions the Smart Way. I am sorry to say I'm alarmed by the kind of immature mentality that runs through it. This guy, so this guy is a flamer. Okay, then he says, I will not begin to analyze how many of the assertions you make are simply illogical and unjust, because it upsets me to think about them. Okay, and he continues, I would like to ask you to consider the reasons why you are taking this stance. If it's out of sympathy for the superior case of hackers, an idiotic and misapplied term if ever there was one. That's right. Okay. Do you realize that you are describing real people with serious psychological problems and that you are feeding their pain by your writings? Okay. Then last sentence. I hope you can balance the effort you have put behind this document with some social responsibility. Okay. So so this guy is a good writer, okay? Yeah, he's writing this, this just few sentences are excellently written, very well written. By the way, ESR is also a master of writing. Okay, that I cannot deny. ESR is very knowledgeable. He possesses the expertise of the C language, and I think also C++. He's he's a very knowledgeable guy. He's a very skilled programmer, expert in C at least, and also he is a top writer. Okay, I can acknowledge that, and he knows a lot of things, quite a lot. If you want, let's say he's erudite, meaning that a man, you learn things about, not just programming, not just a mathematician, not just a nerd, but still a nerd, but you learn, variety of things, um, in academic subjects or even outside of academic subjects. But anyway, so ESR is very knowledgeable, skilled programmer, and a good writer. But the guy who emailed him is also, judging by just these six graphs, he also he writes well. So anyway, this guy wrote to him that, and then ESR says, I swear to all of you, I swear to all of you, I did not invent or modify even a word of this. I wouldn't have been capable. I can't simulate galloping stupidity that well. Here was my response. Okay, this ESR guy, fucking, what a fucking pompous fuck. Okay, he is not just, well, how, I have quite a lot of things to say about this ESR guy, from his political opinions to his Unix philosophy crap. Okay. By the way, one thing I haven't mentioned is his political stance. He's also well known for it, and a lot of people hates him. He is, he's kind of, I guess, some people call him neocon. Basically, he is pro-war. He is like pro-American, pro-war. He he support invading Iraq. During the Iraq War, and he is a gun totter. He has guns. He advocate for gun rights and for those kind of things. So he's not just outside of programming. He's also like people call him. It's like a neocon. I think neocon is the proper term to describe his political inclinations. At least the critics of the right wing. Anyway, yeah. So he is also known for that. And I don't agree with that. Okay, there's more to say about that. It gets very interesting because so he is kind of white right wing. Okay, so many programmers don't like him, and also the way he write is very pompous. Look at this. I swear to all of you, I swear, not just he. he has to say something, but he needs to swear it, but not just to like one guy or to my audience, like to he has to state that he swear to whom? To all of you. And what does he say? What does he swear? Okay, he swear to all of you that he did not invent or modify even a single word of these. So he just pasted, the email he received. Okay, normally, you know, like different different people have different writing styles, right? Normally, you paste something, then you start to talk about it. That's it. What you pasted, but you don't have to say. It's not necessary to say I didn't modify it. Unless, maybe the content calls for it, maybe because it's a leaked email or something, something leaked or something, there's no need, in this case, there's no need to to repeat or emphasize that you did not modify it. But he has to, this ESR fuck. I swear to all of you, I did not invent or modify even a word of this. Then he says, I wouldn't have been capable. I can't simulate. I can't. I can't simulate galloping stupidity that well. That's a good description. Okay. And he says, here's my response. But hold on. Okay. Let me finish talking about the political situation, his political inclinations. Okay, so as we mentioned, he's a kind of neocon or right wing. Okay, I'm not sure neocon. He actually espoused that word. I don't know if typically it's a negative, word. I mean, it's a derogatory. It's called derogatory. But anyway, so let's see. Yeah, let's go to his. So he's kind of neocon or right wing. Okay, let's just say right wing then. But now you see that is back in 2000s. But since around 2010, the social justice scan arose, and the landscape of American politics and norms is like changed entirely 180 degrees. Like about face. It did a about face. um, it used to be conservative rules, the country, God, stuff. But now it's like, every day is like gays and trans, women's right and this and the latest immigration and victims and stuff. Um, so around 2010, let's just say 2010, the social justice scan arose. It's a major change. In particular, in 2016, there's a major change in U.S. Uh, culture or politics, kind of. And I don't like that. Well, because I'm anti the social justice scan. Okay, I think they are not just it's not like I don't agree with their opinions, but actually I think they are like criminals. They are evil. They are lying scumbags. They are corrupt. With many of them, the leaders are super rich, like not just rich, like the millions and billions of money. Um, they do these kind of things. So that is my opinion of the social justice uh, type of people. I mean, not in general, not just not particular person, because this that's my opinion about the social justice movement. So I don't like them. Okay, so they are my enemies. But however, the ESR guy, Eric S. Raymond, he is so of course it's not his friend. The social justice guys are not his friend. In fact, is his enemy. So he fight them. He do what he can to fight them. You can see it constant. Often in his blogs. And I agree. Okay, even though I don't like his his political opinions about war, about guns, all these guns and stuff. like, oh, it's a right, yeah, it's like, gun are legal, that's fine. American, that's how American history happens to be that way. And it's not necessarily bad, okay? And there's pro and cons. I mean, in many issues in society, there's no right answer, you know. So as far as gun goes, legalization of gun, to me, I don't think, my opinion is like I'm not against it. I'm not against owning a gun, but no, am I thinking that American with guns is just bad? Okay, I don't think that way. So I'm not pro or con. I think it's just there. It's okay. So anyway, so why? So yeah, so in general, so gun doesn't matter to me, but either way. But ESI is like there are certain type of American, they have like they have to talk about guns all the time, like, oh, I've rights and stuff. So ESI is one of them, and in fact I think he collect guns. He, like, some of these people, it's like it's a subculture, it's a hobby. Like you have these typically white, uh, rural Americans, I think. Okay, they like to hunt, gun collection, to practice target, shooting, stuff, and they collect. Some of them collect, war memorabilia, or they they like to entangle. They like to practice civil war, like fake, how they call it, reenact see American Civil War stuff, stuff, you know. So it's kind of a hobby. It's all tied together. So anyway, so but one thing I really don't, so ESR, I don't like him in many ways. So his political opinions, neocon, pro-war, and to him and to this neocon's opinion, I mean people, their opinion, is that, oh, America is democracy, therefore we must spread democracy to free you. We're gonna come and free you, drop a few bombs. That's their opinion. They think they are helping the world, into democracy, into a, so ESR is one of those guys. So this particular point, I hate very much. Okay, yeah, I think it's the worst. It's kind of a criminal. This mentality. This, anyway. So I don't like him for that, at least. But then the social justice scan arose. You see, and he started. Of course, obviously, began to fight with the social justice. But now I support him. I support ESR. I support Eric S. Raymond, even though I find him to be a very problematic guy. But the very fact that he is against the social justice gun, I support Eric S. Raymond. Okay, because in my opinion, the social justice scan, all any people, especially the top, like today you have the leaders of the, basically the CEO of Google, Facebook, they are all doing it. They doing social. They sing the songs of social justice. They sing the songs of, there are words I don't want to mention because Google has censorship right now. But anyway, that is the. I think that's the worst evil, much worse. The social justice scan to me is it's much worse than the, let's say the, well, I can't say which one is actually worse, because the neocon, if you talk about the neocon, they are pro-war. They invade, other countries all the time for the benefit of America, for the benefit of American us. Okay, counting me. So but anyway, so neocon, they do war, and in the pretext of democracy. Democracy is just a pretext, really. Uh, you know, so that's not good. That war. You have, meaning that you have hundreds of thousands dead. For example, in Iraq war, you have like how many civilians dead? 300,000, something like that. And so that's no good. The neocon is no good. But however, the social justice, the way I see social justice, it's not better. Okay. So if you press me to say which one is worse, that actually depends on what you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking about war already happened, where we have hundreds of thousands of people dead all over the globe because of U.S. invasion, because of USA. It's euphemized as what they say. Tulsi Gabbard often says that euphemized as regime change. Okay, yeah. No, we don't kill, we don't invade other countries. We simply just do regime change. That's yeah, yeah. That's all we do. You know. So anyway, so if you talk about war, and actually a lot of people are dead, so that aspect is surely worse than the social justice. At least the social justice gun has not caused a war. Well, actually, so you see, so the social justice gun is extremely bad, extremely bad. In fact, they are also poor war. They, the like today's Democrat Party, they are very pro war, just like exactly like the right wing neocons. These rich, powerful corporations and people and politicians. So anyway, but what I'm saying is that at a personal level, like everyday life, I think the social justice is far worse than the typical American culture. Before, let's say, before 2010, the social justice is very bad. That is why, if I have to choose, either support Eric S. Raymond or not support him, I choose to support, because when it comes to civil war, you have to make a choice. That's what civil war happen. To some many people say that civil war is coming if it's not already happening. That's very bad. When civil war comes, you're gonna you're gonna make a choice. Enemy or friend, and that choice will happen upon your friends, your relatives, your family, your sisters, your mom, and you're gonna choose either they die or you die. That's what the fuck social justice people has created. This the Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, and all these scums. Google, whoever is the current CEO right now. So anyway, so that's a lot rant right off the bat. Let me read the comment. So Azam Murad says, how about the 6 million Muslims held uh haven't seen mainland China? How about that? Are you a troll? Are you like trolling me? Answer that. Is that a serious question? Are you trolling me? Do you know me before, or you just came to this, you just came to, you know, you have to say, you say it, then I answer, because I don't know if you are sincere. So anyway, back to ESR. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe you are follow. You are like, I'm a nerd. I'm a programmer. I'm kind of, I've been in the programming. I'm known in some small, programming communities. So I don't know. I wonder if are following me and know the Okay, so well, yeah. Okay, so you asked me about this. I don't want. I don't. I don't want to mention those things because that's censorship. Google is going to censor this video. But anyway, to answer the question, um, okay, I don't actually know the details about the China situation. The Muslims are, you know, but what I know is that I know it very well. In Western because I'm American. By the way, I'm American citizen. Oh, you are Edith Packer. Okay, great. So yeah, you are in my we are in the same community. So I'm an American citizen. I live here for the past 30 years, basically most of my adult life since I was 21. Before that, 3 years I'm in Canada. So basically, since I'm 17, I lived my life in 3 years in Canada and the rest of it in USA. I'm 51 today, like halfway into the grave. I'll be gone pretty soon. So anyway, 30 years in USA, I know exactly what the Americans, all the newspapers, when they talk about China. I know exactly what they say. Doesn't matter what year. What they want to say is that, and also this is also what most Americans believe, because those are from newspapers. They push it out every day. So after decades. Uh, Yeah, it looks like I look younger. No, but I'm like I think Asians usually have the characters. You don't look so old or so fast. But also, I'm getting old. Like my eyes, I'm going blind. Anyway, so I know, so typically, let me tell you, my opinions. Okay, so basically, whenever Americans say something about China, they have only one goal. You can just say they have a goal. Like their goal is to say China is like inhuman, like they are violating human rights, they are whatever, this or that, they are not free, they are communist, and we must take over. We must spread freedom. We must spread democracy. We must spread human rights. China evil, okay, and we must do something like invade China or whatever. That is the basically every article in the past since I've read in the past 30 years on every issue from every publication, every major mainstream publication. It's all say that you don't even have to know what what is the thing they are talking about, what is the issue. You don't have to know, but every article they basically have the same premise. China bad. We need to free them. We need to like liberate them. We need to regime change. So that's that is my opinion. Okay, you can if you can if you trust me, you maybe you take it too hard, you think about it. If you don't, nothing I can do. So that is my basic opinion, my perception about the situation. Now specifically about the Muslim in China, how China is doing bad things to them. I don't know that specific, but again, I don't. It's not like, oh, maybe I should think about it. Oh, China is really doing these bad things. No, I don't even think about that, because first of all, I just brush it off. I think it's a lie by the American powerful, because they want and also but so why does the typical American, let me say, address that. So why does typical American believe that? Because we are all human beings, human animals. Okay, we all have biases. So if you are American, especially if you are white American, you naturally believe whatever that benefits you. China is bad. They owe us something. We need to, or something, whatever. What I'm saying is just that we all have biases. But however, I mean, what I'm saying is that if you are like me, for example, if you are Chinese, you didn't, you are not white. You came from elsewhere, immigrant. Okay, I'm an immigrant. But by the way, I think the social justice, the Democrat today are scums. Okay, I was a illegal immigrant in Canada. I make $3 an hour. I live $3 an hour working in clothing factories, and also anyway, that's my history. But anyway, back to the question about. So I was saying everyone has biases. You cannot blame average American for their beliefs, or you can say I cannot say they are idiotic because they simply believe all the lies the US government spread about China. Okay. Meanwhile, for example, let me give you another example of bias in China. you know if you go to China, or if you are Chinese. By the way, I was from Taiwan. I have never been to China. But if you are Chinese, you were born in China, you ask them, oh, what they think about US. They are not going to tell you, oh, US is gonna help us. We need US. China, oh, my government is very bad. I need, because because they put Muslims, in prison or something. I need, please come help us. Nobody says that. In fact, if you press them, they'll say USA is evil, bad, just like what you are thinking about China. Okay, that is my opinion on this issue. So I'm not saying so American is biased and Chinese is not. Everyone is biased, but so how do you solve this problem? You have to be reasonable. Anyway, on the particular Muslim issue, I can refer you to, if you are interested. Most people are not really interested about truth. Like if you can actually find out, what really happens about that. For example, you can, if you really want to, but there's a price to pay. Meaning that from now on, every day, you have to spend 1 hour look for the truth. You will find what exactly really happens. If you really want to spend 1 hour a day for the next 30 days for a month, I bet, I will. I can, I'm confident to challenge you that your opinion will change. After 30 days, you look into the issue, you question exactly that issue. Spend 1 hour a day, try to look for truth, whatever it is. Spend 1 hour a day. After 30 days, I guarantee your opinion will be quite different in nature from today about that issue. Okay, that's what I think. uh, Hawaii MateBook Pro. What is Hawaii MateBook? uh, oh, Huawei Mate Huawei MateBook Pro. Okay, that's the Huawei laptop. But anyway, so where are you from? By the way, are you American? Are you in USA? So actually, I think that's it for today. I think because we I ca- you know I started to rant about. So we talked about the Unicode emoji versus text issue. That is about the first 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, then we started to talk about sitemap. Yeah, the purpose of sitemap, and how it became no longer used. Then we started to talk about this ESR person. Okay, and he's interesting and very controversial guy, and very controversial opinions. Then from that point on, I started to went into a rant about quite a few things about hacker culture, about the origin of open source, free software foundation, and then I started to talk about neocon, the opinions about in the social justice people. Um, so okay, you are from Britain. Okay, so um, and yeah, so So now it's been an hour. Anyway, I want so I think that's maybe we can. Let me talk about 5 more minutes to finish. 5 more minutes to finish. Okay, thank you. Yeah. A few more minutes to finish about this topic about what this ESI is talking about. How to not engage me. So anyway, someone sent him an email, kind of flamish, and he retort. And he says blah blah blah, and you can read it. So anyway, yeah, okay, yeah. So I guess that's it. So thank you guys for coming. Thanks for watching. Yep. Bye, Aizen. Bye, guys.